Welcome to QuickSpeak, the English podcast that helps you improve your English skills. Today we're going to talk about something that a lot of people go through after a breakup. It's that urge to text your ex.
Oh, yeah.
Breakups can be so difficult.
For sure.
And it's understandable to want to reach out to your former partner.
Right.
But we're going to explore why texting your ex might not be a good idea.
Okay.
And discuss some healthier ways to cope with those post-breakup feelings.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a very common situation.
Right.
A lot of people wonder if they should contact their ex after a relationship ends.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strong emotions involved.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's hard to resist that temptation to just reach out, you know?
Totally. And you might have even heard of the no contact rule,
Yes.
which suggests cutting off all communication with your ex for a period of time,
Right.
usually between 30 and 60 days,
Mm-hmm.
but wouldn't stay in touch even just a little bit.
Yeah.
Be better than complete silence.
Well, the no contact rule,
Okay.
it's not really about punishing your ex
Good.
or playing games with them.
Gotcha.
It's more about giving yourself the space,
Yeah.
the emotional space that you need to heal and detach from the relationship.
Right.
When you constantly text or call your ex,
Yeah.
you're keeping that connection alive.
Yeah.
And it can really prevent you from moving on.
So it's more about creating that healthy
Mm.
distance for yourself
Yes.
rather than trying to manipulate the situation.
Exactly. You got it.
Okay, yeah.
It's about prioritizing your own emotional well-being
Right.
and allowing yourself to process the breakup without all of that interference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then, like, if my ex sees that I'm not contacting them,
Yeah.
wouldn't they think I don't care anymore?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Sometimes absences can make the heart grow fonder, as they say.
Oh, okay.
When you step back and give your ex space,
Uh-huh.
it allows them to kind of reflect on the relationship, too. Yeah.
And maybe even start to miss you.
Okay.
It also gives you a chance to work on yourself
Mm-hmm.
and become a more independent and confident person.
Interesting perspective.
Yeah.
So instead of texting,
Mm-hmm.
I should focus on my own growth and healing during that time?
Precisely. Use that time to rediscover yourself, pursue your passions, your interests, reconnect with friends and family.
Right.
It's about filling your life up with all these positive experiences
Okay.
and reminding yourself of your own worth.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes those urges to text can be so overwhelming.
Right.
What if those feelings become so intense that it's just like really hard to resist reaching out?
Well, that's where understanding emotional dependency comes in.
Yeah.
If you feel anxious or incomplete
Yeah.
without constant communication with your ex, that might be a sign that you're relying on them too much for your own emotional well-being. So, how can I tell if my desire to text is simply missing my ex or something more like emotional dependency?
Ask yourself a couple questions.
Okay.
Do you feel anxious when your ex doesn't reply right away? Do you need constant reassurance from them?
Okay.
Do you find it hard to enjoy activities or even just be alone without them? Those are some indicators of emotional dependency.
So it's like my happiness is completely tied to their responses, and that doesn't sound healthy at all.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Healthy relationships allow for space and individuality.
Okay.
And when you're emotionally dependent on someone,
Yeah.
you might be seeking something from your ex that they just can't give you,
Yeah.
like a sense of self-worth or validation.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's more about
Mhm.
working on my own self-esteem
Yeah,
and finding those things within myself rather than seeking them externally.
exactly. You got it.
Okay. Awesome.
It's about recognizing that you are complete and worthy, regardless of your relationship status.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah.
But sometimes the urge to text isn't even about missing my ex.
Yeah.
It's more about like curiosity or just wanting to know what they're up to.
Well, curiosity is natural, especially after a breakup.
Yeah.
You might be tempted to check their social media or ask friends about them.
Yeah.
But remember that that information won't necessarily give you peace of mind
Hmm.
or help you move on.
It's like looking for closure in all the wrong places. Instead of looking outward,
Yeah,
I should be focusing on finding that closure within myself.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
True closure comes from understanding and accepting what happened in the relationship,
Okay.
processing your emotions, learning from the whole experience.
Right.
It's about making peace with the past so you can move forward with confidence.
This kind of makes me think about nostalgia.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I find myself just remembering the good times
Right.
and forgetting about all the problems that led to the breakup. Does that have anything to do with why I might want to text my ex?
Nostalgia is powerful.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to idealize the past and romanticize the relationship, especially when you're lonely.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that those rosy memories,
Okay.
they're often filtered through like a lens of longing and wishful thinking.
So I need to be mindful of not letting those
Yeah.
idealized memories cloud my judgment
Exactly.
and lead me back to a situation that wasn't healthy for me.
Yeah, you don't want to repeat past mistakes.
Right, right.
Be honest with yourself about why things ended
Uh-huh.
and acknowledge the negative parts of the relationship too.
Okay, that's good advice.
Yeah.
I think this all makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
but I still feel like there's like a
Yeah.
piece of the puzzle missing.
Uh-huh.
If it's not about missing my ex
Right.
or needing their validation or even being overly curious,
Yeah.
why else would I feel this intense urge to text them?
Sometimes that urge comes from a deeper fear of abandonment. It's primal instinct
Okay.
that can make us crave connection
Yeah.
and reassurance, especially after a loss.
So it's like my subconscious is just trying to protect me
Yeah.
from feeling alone and rejected.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's important to be aware of this fear
Ah.
and develop those healthy coping mechanisms for dealing with it.
Okay.
Things like talking to a therapist, practicing mindfulness,
Okay.
building a strong support network can really help.
It seems like
Yeah.
understanding the root of the urge to text is crucial.
Absolutely. It's about being honest with yourself about your motivations.
Right.
And making choices that are best for you.
Okay.
Not just your immediate impulses.
So how can I tell when it's actually okay to text my ex?
Yeah. Is there ever a right time?
Is there ever a right time?
There are a few situations where texting might be appropriate.
Oh,
You got to proceed with caution.
Okay, I'm listening. What should I be looking for?
First, have you gone through a significant period of no contact? Have you given yourself enough time to heal, reflect, and gain perspective?
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Rushing into contact too soon could just completely undo all the progress I've made.
Exactly. You want to make sure you're reaching out from a good place,
Okay,
from a place of strength and clarity,
gotcha.
not desperation.
Okay.
Ask yourself, have you actually grown since the breakup? Have you addressed the underlying issues that led to the split?
Right.
Are you emotionally stable
Okay.
and prepared for any outcome, even if they don't respond?
Those are important questions to consider.
Yeah.
So timing,
Yes.
self-awareness, emotional preparedness, these are key.
Absolutely.
And even if I meet all of those criteria,
Yeah.
it's still important to be mindful of my intentions.
Yes. Why are you reaching out?
Right.
Is it to rekindle things?
Right.
Or are there just practical matters to discuss?
If I'm hoping to get back together,
Uh-huh.
texting might not be the best way.
Right. It's important to have realistic expectations
Okay.
and to avoid setting yourself up for disappointment
Yeah.
if you want to get back together.
Yeah.
It's usually better to have that conversation in person.
Okay.
You can read their body language better that way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Direct communication might be more effective
Uh-huh.
and less prone to misinterpretation.
Exactly.
So are there any specific situations where texting would be okay?
If there are practical things to discuss, like
Okay.
finances, belongings, or responsibilities,
Right.
texting can be neutral and efficient.
So just keep it strictly business.
Precisely.
No emotional baggage.
No, just stick to the facts.
Okay. And even in those situations,
Yeah.
it's still crucial to check in with myself
Yes.
and with how I'm feeling.
If you're feeling triggered or vulnerable,
Yeah.
it might be best to have a friend handle it.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
So it's always important to put my well-being first
Mm-hmm.
and to avoid putting myself in situations that could be emotionally damaging.
Exactly. You have the right to protect yourself
Okay.
and make choices that support your healing.
This has been really insightful.
Oh, good.
I'm starting to understand the no contact rule
Mm-hmm.
and how important self-awareness is
Yeah.
in managing the urge to text my ex.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if I slip up and break the no contact rule?
Yeah, what are the consequences?
What are the consequences?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something we're going to talk about next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes.
We'll continue our exploration of this topic after a short break.
Okay. Breaking the no contact rule can be like
Okay.
taking 2 steps forward and then 1 giant leap back in your healing journey.
Right.
You know, it can trigger a flood of emotions that you thought you were done with
Yeah.
and leave you feeling confused and hurt all over again.
Oh, so it really does set you back emotionally.
Yeah, exactly.
It's as if you're reopening old wounds.
It can interrupt the progress you've made in detaching from the relationship.
Okay.
And it can intensify feelings of longing and sadness.
Right.
You might find yourself dwelling on the past, overanalyzing their response, or even questioning the breakup itself.
Right, so it's not just about the disappointment of, like, a negative response, but also about the emotional turmoil that it can reignite.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Breaking the no contact rule can also delay getting closure. Instead of focusing on your own healing and moving on, you're essentially prolonging the emotional entanglement.
I see it. It's like staying tethered to a past that needs to be released.
Precisely.
Okay.
Another consequence of breaking no contact is that it can damage your self-esteem. You might feel foolish or embarrassed for reaching out.
Right.
Especially if they don't respond. Or if their response is negative.
It's like giving them the power to hurt you again. Even though the relationship is over.
Exactly. You've got to protect your well-being.
Right.
And avoid situations where you're vulnerable to more pain.
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
So breaking no contact not only impacts my emotional state, but it can also make it harder to move on.
Yes.
And build up my self-worth.
Exactly. And it can also send mixed signals to your ex.
Oh, okay.
It might make them question your resolve or lead them to believe that you're still emotionally invested.
So even if my intentions are good, my actions could be misinterpreted and create confusion or false hope?
Exactly. Consistency is key if you're trying to move on.
Right.
Maintaining no contact sends a clear message that you're respecting the boundaries and focusing on yourself.
Like drawing a line in the sand and committing to a fresh start.
Exactly. It's about creating a healthy separation so both of you can move forward.
This all makes so much sense.
Good.
But what if you do slip up and break no contact? Is everything ruined?
Well,
then to start all over again?
It's normal to slip up sometimes.
Okay.
The important thing is to acknowledge it, learn from it, and get back on track.
Right.
A lot of experts recommend restarting the no contact period from day one after a break.
So it's like hitting the reset button.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And giving yourself another chance to heal.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
It's reassuring that one slip-up doesn't mean you've totally failed.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Recovery isn't always a straight line.
Right.
You know, there will be ups and downs.
Yeah.
The important thing is to be kind to yourself.
Okay.
Learn from your experiences. And keep moving forward.
And speaking of moving forward.
Yeah.
Let's talk about closure.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that breaking no contact can delay finding closure.
Right.
But what does closure really mean in the context of a breakup?
Closure is that feeling of peace and understanding that allows you to let go
and move on without all those lingering questions.
So it's about releasing the emotional attachment and finding a sense of resolution.
Precisely.
Okay.
Closure isn't always about getting answers from your ex or having that final conversation.
Gotcha.
It's more about reaching a place of internal understanding.
So you can find closure even if you don't get explanations or apologies from your ex.
Absolutely. Sometimes the most powerful closure comes from within, from acknowledging your own role in the relationship.
Okay.
Forgiving yourself for any mistakes.
Right.
And choosing to learn and grow from the experience.
It's about taking ownership of my own healing.
Exactly.
And not relying on someone else to feel complete.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about shifting your focus.
Okay.
From what you didn't get from the relationship to what you can gain from it.
That's interesting.
What lesson did you learn?
Okay.
How did you grow as a person?
Right.
What will you do differently next time?
Those are important questions. It's like turning a painful experience into an opportunity for self-reflection and growth.
Exactly. And remember, closure is a process.
Okay.
It takes time and patience and self-compassion to get there.
This has been really helpful in understanding closure.
Oh, good.
It's definitely something worth striving for.
For sure.
But it's not a simple thing.
No, it's not.
Closure looks different for everyone.
Absolutely. There's no one right way to achieve it.
Okay.
The important thing is that you find what works for you.
Right.
And lets you move on.
So we've talked about the no contact rule, the consequences of breaking it, and the importance of closure.
Right.
But what about the practical stuff?
Yeah, like how do you actually rebuild your life?
Yeah, how do you handle the day-to-day challenges and start building a new life without your ex?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something we'll explore in the final part of our discussion.
Okay, perfect.
We'll talk about practical tips for managing those post-breakup challenges.
Okay.
And strategies for creating a fulfilling life on your own terms.
I'm looking forward to that.
Good.
This conversation has been so insightful.
I'm glad.
And I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear more.
Yeah, me too.
So we've talked about no contact after a breakup and how to, deal with the urge to reach out to your ex.
Right.
And now I kind of want to shift our focus to the practical stuff.
The practical side of moving on.
Yeah, building a fulfilling life after the relationship ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's
So
important.
where do you even begin?
Yeah.
Like, what are some practical first steps?
Well, one of the most important things is to set those boundaries with your ex.
Boundaries. Oh,
This might mean unfollowing them on social media.
Right.
Maybe blocking their number.
Okay.
Or setting limits on communication.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about creating that clean break.
Right.
And minimizing those opportunities for contact that can bring back those painful memories.
So once you have those boundaries in place, how do you actually start rebuilding your life without them?
It can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
But remember, you're not alone.
Okay.
Lean on your support network.
Okay.
Talk to your friends, your family.
Right.
Let them know what you're going through.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Sometimes just talking it out can help so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sharing your feelings can really help you process everything and gain perspective and just feel supported.
What about those times when you're just feeling overwhelmed with sadness or loneliness? What are some healthy ways to deal with those emotions?
Self-care is so important.
Okay.
Make time for the things you enjoy, things that relax you.
Like what?
Maybe it's a long bath.
Okay.
A good book.
Right.
Listening to music. Spending time in nature.
I like all those things.
Yeah.
It's like giving yourself permission
Yes.
to indulge in those little things that make you happy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Treat yourself with kindness and be patient.
Okay.
Allow yourself to feel those emotions without judgment.
This all kind of ties back to self-reflection and growth that we talked about before.
Yeah.
How can someone use this time to learn and grow?
A breakup can be really painful.
For sure.
But it can also be a catalyst for self-discovery.
Okay.
Use this time to reflect on your values, your goals.
Right.
What matters most to you?
Okay.
What kind of life do you want to build?
It's like hitting the reset button and having a chance to redefine yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Explore new things, reconnect with old passions.
Okay.
Maybe pursue those dreams you've been putting off.
That's empowering.
Yeah.
It's like turning a negative experience into a positive opportunity for change.
Exactly. And remember, personal growth is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
There will be challenges.
Yeah.
But you learn and grow from them.
This has been an awesome conversation.
Oh, I'm glad.
About dealing with breakups.
Yeah.
Any last words of advice for our listeners?
Just remember, healing takes time.
Okay.
Be patient with yourself.
Right.
Celebrate your progress.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask for support.
Right.
You're going to get through this.
That's a great message to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking with us today.
You're welcome.
And thank you to all of our listeners.
Yes, thank you for listening.
For joining us for this episode of QuickSpeak. We hope you found it helpful.
Yes.
And don't forget to check out our website.
Yes, visit our website.
For more resources.
For vocabulary and exercises.
Yes, you can find the link in the description.
And be sure to subscribe.
Yes, subscribe to our podcast for more English learning content.
We'll see you next time.
Until next time, keep practicing your English and keep learning.